I am Jaina Bosonko and this is QTV News coming to you live from our studios on Caraba Avenue. Thanks for joining us. And now here are the main local news, international and sports news headlines. Now ahead on the TRRC report, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice Dauda A. Jalloh has reiterated government's commitment to implementing the Commission's recommendations. Senegal and the Gambia on Sunday launched a coordinated campaign in the fight against malaria through the distribution of at least 16 million long-lasting insecticide-treated bed nets to the people of the two countries. The National Audit Office of the Gambia is hosting a 4-day international conference of the governing board meeting of the African Organization of English-Speaking Supreme Audit Institutions. The Gambia Red Cross Society on Sunday joined the rest of the world to commemorate World Red Cross and Red Crescent Day. And in sports news, Blue Stars emerged champions of the Birkama Medina Juniors football tournament, defending Parma in a dramatic penalty shootout after a 0-0 draw in regulation time. Those were the main headlines, and now the news in detail. Do stay with us. Thank you for joining us, and I am Jaina Bosonko. Now, ahead of the publication of government's white paper on the TRRC report, the Attorney General and the Minister of Justice Dauda A. Jalloh has reiterated government's commitment to implementing the Commission's recommendations. He was speaking at the opening of a 4-day national consultation on the TRRC findings and recommendations.
The act which brought TRRC into being requires the government to publish a white paper on the Commission's findings and recommendations 6 months after the submission of the Commission's report. This is also expected to be followed by the release of a report providing the framework and a guide for implementing the report's recommendations. And ahead of the release of the white paper on the 25th of May, the Ministry of Justice, with the support of partners such as the International Center for Transitional Justice, ICTJ, is organizing a 3-day national discussion covering the findings and recommendations of the Truth Commission to dispel misconceptions and on the implementation process. Dauda A. Jalloh, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, says government is determined to meet the deadline for the publication of the white paper. He called on the CSOs and partners attending this 3-day national dialogue to come forward with strong recommendations to help inform government's white paper.
These are the practical contributions that we expect from you while you are here the next 3 days. It's not about whether government should accept a particular recommendation or not. That is the prerogative of government, but of course we would want your input. But government would do that. Government will say yes or no and give reason. But of course your input will help government to determine, because you might see things that us as public servants might not see.
Furthermore, he reiterates government's commitment to implementing the TRRC recommendations and thanked partners such as the American Bar Association, ICTJ and victim-led CSOs for their continuous support to the country's transitional justice process. Emmanuel Juf, chairperson of the National Human Rights Commission, and CSO representative Priscilla Yagusise of WAVE both welcomed the initiative to hold a national dialogue on the TRRC's findings and recommendations, and thanked government for the various legislations instituted since 2017, which they say have strengthened national human rights efforts.
We all know what the main objectives of the TRRC was, and I need not go into it. Suffice to say that key was to promote healing and reconciliation, respond to the needs of the victims, address issues of impunity. We cannot also talk about TRRC. We cannot talk about recommendations without addressing issues of justice.
Civil society organizations, we have a role, we have a task, and we're all doing that explicitly well, but we're doing that because and for those who give us agency to do the work that we're doing. And the people that give us the agency, they are the victims. Direct victims, indirect victims, remembering those who have died and their families who are still around and their friends, and just ensuring that we keep their memories going, but also to ensure that never again, like I said, really becomes a realization. Otherwise, we do not move forward.
Other speakers included Elsie Sindayigaya, a representative of the American Bar Association who expressed his organization's willingness to always assist the ministry in implementing its transitional justice projects. The event was also attended by the Chief Justice, Hassan B. Jallow, the Permanent Secretary, Office of the President, the Deputy CDS, and a cross-section of civil society representatives. Ansumane Soinyasi for QTV News.
Now, Senegal and the Gambia on Sunday launched a coordinated campaign in the fight against malaria through the distribution of at least 16 million long-lasting insecticide-treated bed nets to the people of the two countries. The event on the Senegal border of Karang was attended by the Ministers of Health of both countries and donor partners. Mamadou Lamin Choi has more.
Senegal and the Gambia, two brotherly neighbors, are launching a synchronized campaign to fight a common and deadly enemy, malaria, to fulfill a key part of the December 2018 Senegambia Malaria Elimination Initiative Agreement between the countries. Over 2 million and 14 million people in the Gambia and Senegal respectively are to be provided with long-lasting mosquito bed nets in the 3 months of distributions. This campaign is expected to shorten the usual long tail of elimination along borders as both countries continue to push down the incidence and prevalence of malaria. Dr. Ahmadou Lamin Samate sees the campaign as a breakthrough in the malaria elimination campaign of both countries.
The launching of the 2022 mass distribution of lints today demonstrates the level of commitment to the Senegambia Malaria Initiative by the two countries. As we launch this joint campaign, we must remember that the malaria vectors and parasites recognize no borders. Therefore, it is only through joint and collaborative efforts that we can eliminate malaria from the two countries.
This is the second synchronized malaria elimination campaign by Senegal and the Gambia. The first was organized in May 2019. Senegal's Minister of Health and Social Action, Abdoulaye Diouf Sarr, recognizes the joint campaign as an innovative way to achieve the collective goal of malaria elimination in both countries by 2030.
La dernière campagne menée conjointement par la Gambie et le Sénégal a été une réussite.
The last edition of the campaign was a success in many respects. It was an unprecedented event in Africa because for the first time, two countries collaborated to synchronize both the census of households and the distribution of long-lasting insecticidal nets. Senegambia is thus a living reality for both health institutions and for the populations of the two countries. At the World Malaria Day briefing by the World Health Organization last year, the Gambia was declared to be one of the 6 countries in World Health Organization Africa region to have achieved the 2020 milestones of reducing malaria cases and deaths by 40% compared to 2015. The Ministry of Health aims to make the Gambia a malaria-free country by 2025 through ensuring universal and equitable access to malaria prevention and treatment interventions. Dr. Desta A. Tironi, the World Health Organization's country representative in the Gambia, speaks on behalf of the WHO Africa region.
Sadly, even in the areas where long-lasting insecticidal nets and other interventions have been implemented, malaria cases and deaths remain still high. This highlights the need for further innovation in the fight against malaria.
A 2017 malaria indicator survey in the Gambia puts usage of insecticide-treated nets in children and women at 62% and 69% respectively. It also reports that 40% of pregnant women received 3 doses of intermittent preventive therapy to prevent malaria during pregnancy. Though these facts present some level of progress in our fight against malaria, they are equally an indication of the existing shortfalls in the universal coverage of malaria control services in the country. Meanwhile, Senegal and the Gambia's neighbor Cape Verde has already achieved malaria-free status. Mamadou Lamin Choi, QTV News.
Brilliant initiative there. Looking forward to the results it will bring. Now, the National Audit Office of the Gambia is hosting a 4-day international conference of the governing board meeting of the African Organization of English-Speaking Supreme Audit Institution. Alusisa attended the event and files in this report.
The meeting is an annual convergence which brings together more than 100 delegates, including auditors general from member countries of the African Organization of English-Speaking Supreme Audit Institutions. However, it has been 3 years since the board was last convened due to COVID-19 travel restrictions. The meeting will discuss thematic issues to strengthen the work of audit institutions in promoting good financial management in the use of public resources. Karamba Toure, Auditor General of the National Audit Office of the Gambia, explains the importance of the meeting to his organization.
The National Audit Office of the Gambia is able to reach this lofty height because of our participation in this particular forum. Key among the provisions that they make for audit institutions is capacity building, training, and so on.
Mohammed Ali, Auditor General of Somalia, who doubles as the chairperson of the African Organization for English-Speaking Supreme Audit Institutions, says they are happy to meet in Banjul and shares his expectations at the end of the meeting.
3 key areas that we're going to look into over the next couple of days, one of them being accountability, what I just talked about, and fighting corruption. Another one being how we can continually engage our offices to advance the work that they're doing. They're doing a phenomenal job, but to look into and see how we can, go into that next level on sustainable development goals.
Honorable Alaji Mbow, the National Assembly member for Upper Salem constituency and member of Public Finance Committee, urged delegates to refocus their audit exercise on the natural resources extractive industry to better benefit the African continent.
I urge you all to interrogate the contracts in this industry and conduct audits in the extraction and in the exploitation of these resources of our dear Mama Africa. And let's make everyone accountable for these natural resources that belongs to all of us as the sons of Africa. If laws need to change, let's work together to do it. And if capacity has to be built in these audit institutions, let's work together to make it happen.
The best performing audit prizes went to Tanzania for 2019, the Gambia for 2020, and Ghana for 2021. The winner is decided by an international independent review panel of experienced auditors from the Netherlands, Norway, Sweden, and UK. Presenting the awards, Ms. Helena Lindberg of the Swedish National Audit Office under the International Organization of Supreme Audit Institutions commended the winners for their exemplary work and encouraged all audit institutions to continue their good work.
The aim of the prize, if you missed that one, is to benchmark good practices in performance audit.
A proud-sounding Mohammed Zakaria Ali from the Ghana Audit Office said the award has brought joy and pride to the winning countries.
I think it is just by dint of hard work, and that is what has actually given us this one.
The African English-speaking body provides support to its members in the area of building capacity and promotes bilateral ideas and experience exchanges. Despite the huge instances of malpractice uncovered by the outstanding audit exercise by these delegates, implementation of audit reports remains a challenge in many countries, something this meeting will seek ways to address. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
From that story by Aliou Cisse, we'll now go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, we have some more local news stories for you as well as sports. We'll be right back.
QMoney, the biggest mobile money service in the Gambia, has taken mobile banking to the next level. Now, you can link your QMoney wallet with your bank account. Yes, link your Ajib or EcoBank accounts with your QMoney wallet and get instant access to your cash anytime. No need to queue at the bank anymore. Transfer funds from your bank account to your wallet or your wallet to your bank account using QMoney Bank Link is the fastest, most secure, and convenient way to transfer funds between your wallet and bank account. For more information, call our customer care on 133. QMoney, Sunyu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
I am the light goddess. Everything I touch turns into light. I am the light at the end of the tunnel, and my technology is the answer. I am the happiness in your life. I keep you connected, and I am Q-Power. I am Q-Cell. I am Sunubus. We innovate, others follow. Call 111 for more information.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV News, and I am Jenna Busonko. Now, the Gambia Red Cross Society on Sunday joined the rest of the world to commemorate World Red Cross and Red Crescent Day. The theme for this year is Be Humankind. Lamin Dabo has the rest of that.
Commemorating World Red Cross and Red Crescent Day recognizes the efforts of not only the founding father of the society, Sir John Henry Donnan, but also the valuable role played by the staff and volunteers of the humanitarian institution. As part of the commemoration, the volunteers and staff of the Red Cross and Red Crescent movement are reaffirming their kindness to humanity, thus this year's theme, Be Humankind. Dato Silla, the national president of the Gambia Red Cross Society, says the Gambia Red Cross is here to render services to all, to alleviate human suffering around the globe.
It is working around the clock to provide life-saving food and non-food relief, health services, and emergency evacuations, shelter, care for the displaced population, climate change, water, sanitation and hygiene, reuniting missing families, provide humanitarian assistance to migrants, livelihood, food security, first aid services, addressing gender issues, and many more. We are asking you, the Gambians, to invest more significantly in strengthening the capacity of those on the ground, especially Gambia Red Cross Society, as well as opening up your hearts and homes to those in need during emergencies.
Alassane Senghor, the Secretary General of the Gambia Red Cross Society, explains the significance of this year's celebration.
Be Humankind is about reflecting what we've done in the past, but looking ahead, what can we do to mitigate the effects, the negative effects on the Gambian community, and then try to mobilize resources to help in that. So in so doing, I would like to once again thank our volunteers, our staff, our governing board has been really very supportive and encouraging and guiding us in the process, but also to thank the government for giving us the space and the support that we needed. I would also want to thank the volunteers, their staff, their parents and their families for allowing them to be able to be flexible and to deliver their humanitarian services across the country. I would like to end by thanking the donors, the UN agencies, the ICRC, the International Federation of Red Cross, Italian Red Cross, Spanish Red Cross, European Union, and many others who have really contributed, and Gambians in the diaspora as well, who have really contributed to the humanitarian work of the Gambia Red Cross.
The staff and volunteers of the World Red Cross and Red Crescent Society are celebrating the day while keeping in mind the 7 fundamental principles of their work, such as humanity, impartiality, neutrality, independence, voluntary service, unity, and universality. For QTV News, I am Lamin Alaifandin Dabo.
Therefore, let us all endeavor to be humankind. Now, the Crab Island Technical and Vocational Education Training Foundation and partners on Monday held a ceremony to honor the previous heads of the former senior secondary school by naming the newly refurbished and transformed classroom blocks after them. Omar P. Jallo attended the event and now reports.
Over the past years, government entities and several development partners have concluded that TVEC has a positive impact on harnessing the youth dividend as well as economic growth, poverty alleviation and improving employability, particularly for out-of-school youth and adults. The principal of the Crab Island Technical and Vocational Education Training Center, Matar John, revealed that the center participated in the 15th GCCI International Trade Fair in March and exhibited tailoring products and services, offering in hairdressing and cosmetology. This, he said, is special in the sense that it is the first time a TVET institution participated in such an activity in the Gambia.
The center is servicing 3 categories of trainees. One category are those wishing to have knowledge and acquire skills and seek for direct employment. That is one category. And other category are those wishing to learn and acquire skills and are self-employed. The third category are those wishing to gather knowledge and acquire skills and hope to pursue higher education in their chosen area of study.
Usman Silla, the chairperson of the Board of Trustees of the TVET Foundation, underscores the importance of TVET in the development of any country, saying that helping the youth with skills and creative art will help them to make career choices. Silla adds that the better the chances of youth to have a decent employment and long life learning opportunities, there is need to improve the knowledge base of TVET in the Gambia.
For each of these 175 to be on scholarship, none of them is paying a butut to be trained. And in addition, they are being stipend. They are being given stipend, each of them. And those who live outside of Banjul are giving an additional transport allowance.
The Deputy Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, Adama Jimbo Job, said global evidence shows youth unemployment is higher in countries without a strong TVET education system, adding that although TVET popularity is increasingly growing, misconceptions about it persist in the Gambia.
And equally, the Gambians need to understand that learning a skill or a trade does not necessarily imply that you are stupid, sorry for my language, or you are academically weak. But what it implies that you have the potential to use your hands to develop your life.
As the school honors its former heads in this event, the Director General of the National Center for Arts and Culture, Hasum Sise, gave a historical record of the contributions of the honored previous heads of the school.
It was a junior school, not a high school, but in fact it attracted some of the brightest, the most politically engaged, the most politically aware, young citizens of this country in the 1960s and the 1970s, most of whom have grown up to become very, very responsible citizens.
The list of the honored former heads in order of successions are Mr. Atto Cates, Alhaji Matar Silla, commonly called Master, Charles D. Dixon, Alhaji Kamabaji, Mr. James Abraham, Mr. K. Motomane, Mrs. Awajau Oba, and Mr. Pa Ibrahim Ofal. Reporting for QTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
Now let's take a look at what is happening in the world of sports. Blue Stars emerged champions of the Birkama Medina Juniors football tournament, defeating Parma in a dramatic penalty shootout after a 0-0 draw in regulation time. Our sports reporter Mamadou Kajaga was there and now reports.
Parma FC goalkeeper Lamin Jiba will have had an unforgettable night's sleep as he missed the penalty, sending his kick wide, thus failing to take advantage of a chance to score the winning kick. At the other end, Blue Stars goalkeeper took full advantage of the second chance handed to him, saving Parma FC's last kick by Selu Jallo to clinch the trophy for his side. The shootout ended 7-6, with 5 players missing. Only 2 infield players didn't take part in the penalties. Earlier in the game, Blue Stars made sure it was a one-sided game in terms of possession, with high pressing and passing style of play. They twice came close to scoring, firstly with a free kick, which was parried for a corner by the keeper. Then Blue Stars captain Ibrahim Ajaju had a powerful shot saved. Despite being on the back foot for much of the game, Parma could have killed the game in the dying minutes. Malang Sise's shot hit the bar after successive corners. Parma forced Blue Stars goalkeeper Hassan Jiba into another save moments later. This is how the two coaches reacted after the final.
I'm very happy to be honest, because last year I entered the final here, but I lost it, So for this team also, in the knockout first round, we met after they beat me 2-0. So I was expecting that, it's not going to be an easy game. So I get prepared because I train continuously even in the Ramadan. So my players, although I'm lucky, but I have worked for it.
Football, I'm easy, you can understand. But near chance of me, to capitalize what I can. That for stage, 90 minutes. Mount Golos can understand it because 91 players, they are a good team, They are very good and strong, So, but near Jemo, from that stage, penalties, but two chances, sort of put on a Jemo finish. 2 scorings, sort of put a Jemo finish. You can understand it. But man capitalize on the chance.
The best player of the tournament award was given to Modu Ba of Manukang FC, who said his feeling at getting this recognition.
Nyoga, over content, and we are, over happy for
nga over appreciate le abedada le no fona nga over proof le yala the best player yala ka receive nga over yala nga over deserve le
The junior football tournament has been organized for 4 consecutive years under the leadership of Matar Njai, who also spoke to us.
I am being motivated by developing grassroots football. Like as we say, catch them young. That's our slogan, and that is why we always organize the junior tournament on a yearly basis here in the Medina football ground. And so far so good. That's the main reason why we do stage it on a yearly basis. As I just said, catch them young. We want to push Gambian football to the next level. And we did understand that without catching them young, it will be difficult. So we had to focus on the younger ones.
The victory for Blue Stars avenged their defeat in last year's final. With this deserved victory, which climaxed an exciting 14-team tournament. Mumutu Gajaga, QTV News.
From that story by Mumutu Gajaga, let's now recap our main headlines before we leave. Ahead of the publication of government's white paper on the TRRC report, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice Dauda A. Jallow has reiterated government's commitment to implementing the Commission's recommendations. Senegal and the Gambia on Sunday launched a coordinated campaign in the fight against malaria through the distribution of at least 16 million long-lasting insecticide-treated bed nets to the people of the two countries. The National Audit Office of the Gambia is hosting a 4-day international conference of the governing board meeting of the African Organization of English-Speaking Supreme Audit Institutions. The Gambia Red Cross Society on Sunday joined the rest of the world to commemorate World Red Cross and Red Crescent Day with the theme Be Humankind. And in sports news, Blue Stars emerged champions of the Birkama Medina Juniors Football Tournament, defeating Palma in a dramatic penalty shootout after a 0-0 draw in regulation time. Well, that is all we have for you in this edition of QTV News. Join us at 10 for another bulletin. Thanks for watching.